Hi everyone. We're gonna do a Serger video. This was a pattern that's for the toweling, and thought, oh, that's so cute, but you know, I'm not really a quilter, but it was really cute out of the toweling. I thought it looked really nice, but I thought this screams Serger project to me. So last year I put Maria on it and she made it up and did a class, but that was only 6 people got to take that class. So I think maybe more of you want to do this project now. So it's going to be just a quick demo here. So the toweling comes on a roll and it's, I think, 20 inches wide, but it comes pre-hemmed, which is really nice when you're making towels, but not great when you're using it in a quilt. So you want to undo this hem. So I like my scalpel ripper and just get it under there and start sliding it. Okay, sorry, phone rang. So you're gonna run this ripper right along underneath your stitching. And can you see me? You can see me. You can see how quick this goes if you just run it along there. And it just releases really nice. So you gotta take that hem out, just run that little scalpel, you kind of hold it like a pencil. And just run it right along. And just that quick, this is something you can do just no time at all. So now we have it unhemmed, okay? And then we have to press it. This would be a good spot for some best press if you can't get that crease out with a little steam. Okay, so there you go, then you're ready to go. Now one more thing I'm going to show you is this is not printed super straight. So what I did was I kind of made a decision what I was going to focus on, which stripe, but then also when I went to cut it, I did one of these to try to straighten it a little bit, okay? So see, that'll straighten it and gives you kind of a little bit of help. So when I cut my piece, it's more square. Not perfectly square, but it's more square. So that's just a scrap. So what I'm gonna do is show you how to put this together. We used a flat lock, and this is just a little picnic quilt. It's super cute. Let's see if I can get you the whole. See, and it's flat locked with red. And so the back is just the same as the front, except for the back's got the ladder stitch. So it's single layer, there's no batting. And then we put a binding on it. You could serge the edge, but with the amount that this stuff ravels, I almost felt better putting a binding on it. And I didn't think it needed any more red. So we did a binding on it. It's a really nice little blue grunge that we bound it with. And yesterday I did a tree skirt, which I'll be showing in another video. And I used the binder that hooks onto the fob. Oh my gosh, where have you been all my life? I know it's been out a while, but you know, I'm not a big quilter, so I hadn't tried it. It was amazing. I was done with that tree skirt in literally 10 minutes, and it even mitered 2 corners. 2 corners. Okay, so let's talk about flat lock. So first of all, there's a cutting list on this pattern, and it tells you how many to cut of each different size piece. And it calls for, I think, 7 different tea towelings. I mean, you can do 7, you can do, if you want, you can just do 5. There's 5 pieces in each block, but it does give you the yardage for 7 different ones. If you want to use 5, we'll have to up the yardage a little bit. And then it gives you this nice layout, so you know how to put them together. So once you get your hems removed and you get your pieces cut to size, then you need to start laying out your pieces. And it makes a very big block, so that it's not a whole lot of work, but you do have to kind of get your layout going here. I just kind of want to visually put it together. See what I'm doing? I'm just visually putting this together and looking at my layout guide, which I keep turning upside down. Those two go next to the 10.5 by 10.5, which is that. The 8.5 by 10.5 goes over here. And this one goes here. So see, that's gonna be my layout. Pretty good. And then you start putting them together. So you can put those two together. So let's talk about flat locking now. So for flat locking, it's a 2-thread stitch, and you need to do a couple things. I'm gonna move you around a little bit, don't get queasy. Can you see me yet? Okay, we need to see this and this. I don't know if I can zoom in at all. I don't think so. Okay, I think you can see everything. This is my Triumph. So, turn the steam off, very steamy. For a flat lock, it's 2 threads. You need 1 needle and 1 looper, lower looper. And you can look at your handy dandy guide, and it says 2-thread flat lock wide, and that's what we're doing, okay? So it tells me to put my overlock needle 1 in, which I've already moved that over. And my lower looper, make sure your foot's up when you're threading, as always. Add that needle. And you can do this on any baby lock serger because they all have a 2-thread function. So this is not one of those things where you have to have the Triumph to do it. Okay, I'm using a 12-weight thread, red. This is actually from Dime. It's a poly thread. You could use, we have Madeira 12-weight. What I don't suggest for a 2-thread is anything heavier than a 12-weight, because what happens is, sorry for my arm here, is you have to engage the subsidiary looper, and it doesn't love having that heavier thread. So down here is a subsidiary looper, okay? And what you do is on the Triumph, you pull it back and let it flip over, and then it engages into the eye of the looper. And there's different methods to engage a subsidiary looper on all the different sergers. But what that does is it basically tells the machine that you're not using that looper. And I'm gonna thread the lower looper. There it goes. Okay, so now we're threaded. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a test. So with flat locking, what you're doing is you are sewing wrong sides together. Get that thread back there. And I saved a little scrap here, just so you can test your stitch length. What you want to make sure you do is put this little foam thing, or if you have a spool cap, one of the foam spool caps, under that spool so that the thread doesn't get wound up underneath. So that's a good idea. Okay, so something I should tell you, when you're threading for flat lock, if you look at your little guide here, it shows you that the needle goes through the upper looper tension, and that space is empty because you're only using 1 looper. So that you have the lower looper through the lower looper tension and the needle through the upper looper tension, okay? And that will allow it to pull open, okay? So let's try it. I did keep my blade engaged because I really kind of wanted to shave off those little fuzzies. The instructions tell you to disengage it, but I really don't want to do that right now. I'm gonna cut this, my thread's wrapped in my foot. There we go. I'm just testing. I'm right at 1. That now I just took 1 hair before longer than one. Okay, so there's my flat lock. All right, it's pretty tight. It's a pretty good fill. And then what you do is you pull. Pull, pull, pull. Now that's more thread than I think I want. See that? That's kind of piled up there. Let's go a little longer and do another test. Let's do it. And this is how you determine what you want your stitch length to be, because every thread is going to be different. Every color thread is different. So you got to try it. Just be careful you don't try it too much when you're working with the spool of decorative thread, because they tend to go quick on a serger. So this is at 1.5. Ooh, I think that's gonna be perfect. And I'm at my widest. Yeah, we'll go to the widest. That looks better. So when I pull this flat, oh, look at that. Because I want it to be filled in, because I want to see that thread. It's acting kind of as my sashing. If you remember the pattern picture has sashing. Well, this stitching is going to act as my sashing. Okay, so we're going to start putting it together. And like I said, what I would do would be lay it out and start building it. So these two pieces go next to this piece. And I kind of want to see, how do I like that? Do I like that with that red stripe coming this way? Now this is a toweling that has the stripe going down both sides. So you're gonna get the stripe only on the edges. And this one, and then we like this one. So the only place I can really play a little bit is kind of side to side. So I could put this over here. I kind of like that better, because then we've got kind of dark and light and light. Yeah, I like that. Now this one had the stripe going right down the center, so I just did one of the bigger pieces and centered that stripe. Yeah, I could go there. No, I like it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with these top two blocks. There's no order to it. I know we could do these bottom two first. Put this one this way. I'm going to go wrong sides together. That together, get you as close as I can. Okay, and then I want to just conserve my thread. So there's my first seam, and we can pull that flat. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so there's my first flat lock seam. Ooh, how cute that is. Okay, and then that one has to get joined. I think I like it this way. And we're going to join that to this one, to the red check. Wrong sides together. Does it matter which fabric is on top? It will determine which one sits on top behind, but with this short of a stitch length, it doesn't really matter, because you're not going to get any show through with this much stitching. Always keep an eye to your decorative thread. Make sure that you're not running out. Okay, so there's so when you pull this, whatever fabric you had on top is going to be the one that kind of wraps over. There's 2 blocks, or 2 sections, 3 sections together. So cute. Now I gotta put these 2 together. Wrong sides together again. This is a real linen-y one, very open weave. This is not a project where I would recommend, sorry, dry mouth, where I would recommend cutting this way ahead of time and then not doing it right away, because the stuff does ravel. So you want to get it, you want to cut it and then get it serged. Okay, see how fast this goes together. There's that. Pull it flat. This block's almost done. And there's only 9 blocks in the quilt that they show. I think I'll have to count how many we did. All right, and we're gonna go here. We wanted this to be here. Now this is the only fussy part about this whole thing. And I have my clips here. You see I haven't been using them. I'm gonna use them here. So you can either use the Wonder clips. My preference is these Mighty clips for this because they're flat. They sit flat against the machine. Because you do want to, I'm gonna cut that thread tail. I cut the thread tail close on both of these pieces. Because you want to match that seam allowance. So you want those seams to be together. So clip that together, and then stitch. And I might come in with a pin coming from this direction, but I think we'll be okay with this. And that's just going to ensure, having that clip in there, you want to take it out before you get to it, but that's going to ensure that nothing creeps. And if you want to, you can take your little pointy thing and kind of help it get under there. Hello. I'm just making a video. Making a serger video. And then it should be good to go. When you pull it flat, looks good. And then we're going to give it a press. So, block number 1. Yay! I like that red check in there. Ours didn't have a check in it, that red check in it. But yeah, but I would definitely give it a press to flatten it out really nicely. Do you want to pre-wash? Yes, you will want to pre-wash this toweling because obviously it's a picnic quilt. It's going to get washed a lot. So you want to pre-shrink this stuff. And we're going to just give that a little press. The flat lock really does do a nice job flattening those seams out, but where the seams meet. And there we go. Oh, turn the steam off. So there's our first block. Nice, huh? And the hardest part about this is once you get everything put together, is laying it out and deciding how to arrange it. I know Maria took her time and really designed it specifically. You know, kind of mixing up the darks and the lights and the colors and trying not to get 2 things next to each other. I will post a picture of the full quilt again. And if you want to make this project, give us a call and we can get it set up for you. But you do have to have a serger to do it this way. All right, see you soon.